after which she retrieved her decorating project from the mudroom and settled down to work on the latest ever-lengthening red and green paper chain. Soon, the joined-up loops crisscrossed the table's surface. She'd already finished the chain for the front entry. This one was destined for the library. After that, the dining room, and then their bedroom. It was no problem. Pru was a dab hand at paper chains. They were a tradition and a comfort. She remembered sitting with her mother at their kitchen table in Dallas, cutting out the strips and gluing them together. Her dad would sit off in the corner with his cup of coffee, and both of them listening to her mother's stories of Christmases growing up in England. Those scenes may have been decades ago, but to Pru, they were as yesterday. She pushed the growing length of loops out of her way, and the end spilled off the far corner of the table, the weight and momentum dragging the rest of the chain with it. As it slipped to the floor with increasing speed, Christopher walked in the mudroom. "Help! Police!" Pru said, pointing. "Paper chain escape!" With one scoop, Detective Inspector Christopher Pierce caught the mountainous mass and scooped them back onto the table. "They've all admired the one you made for the station," Christopher said. "We hung it today." Yes, she had festooned the Romsey police station, too. What else did she have to do with her time? "Polly told me about a new Christmas market near Folly Wallop," Pru said at breakfast the next morning. "After I go over Evelyn's notes," her eyes darted to the Welsh dresser and away, "I thought I'd run up and see it. It isn't far." Reaching for the marmalade, she added, "There's really nothing to do until the butcher delivers the turkey tomorrow." The 10-kilo turkey from a local Hampshire farm had been ordered weeks ago before other plans took family and friends far away. It hadn't seemed in keeping with the Christmas spirit to suddenly change their order from an enormous turkey to a little roasting chicken. But 10 kilograms! Pru had worked that out to be 22 pounds. "We don't need to have a full-blown Christmas dinner for the two of us," her husband reminded her. "We could go into town to the White Horse." "The White Horse has been booked up for ages," Pru said, knowing it was true but wishing it weren't. "And I want to cook the Christmas dinner." Equally true, but coming, as it seemed, from a different part of her brain. She changed the subject. "Perhaps I'll see if Bernadette wants to go up to the market with me, if she isn't busy." Reverend Bernadette, the vicar at St. Mary's, was the only one of Pru's friends left in the village. She had her hands quite full at this time of year and was always looking for extra help, and so Pru strove to keep a low profile. She was happy to provide stems, twigs, and winter blooms for church flowers, but she drew the line at being collared to participate in the living nativity on Christmas Eve. Pru caught Bernadette pulling her coat on over a purple tunic and dog collar, on her way to visit 2 new families in the parish. "A Christmas market in Farley Wallop?" she asked. "That'll be a tough sell, what with Winchester so close." "It's their 2nd year. Polly went last year and said they've made a good start. Would you like to come along with me?" "I would do," Bernadette said, "but I'm just off to look in on 2 new families in the parish. It's a hard time to be in transition. Happy to say that even though they come from quite different circumstances, the mums have made friends with each other already. And you'll be happy to know when I visited one of them yesterday, she was digging weeds out from among the roses. I mentioned we had a gardener in the parish." Bernadette shot Pru a look of mischief. "You never know what might entice someone." "You should invite them for Christmas Eve morning when we decorate the church. Won't you be busy with your dinner preparations?" Pru had no answer for that. She'd been too busy that morning tending to several flats of seedlings to look over Evelyn's instructions, and sought to divert attention. "Speaking of dinner," she said, "why don't you stop in this evening?" On the map, Farley Wallop formed the 3rd point of a lopsided triangle with Winchester and Salisbury, both legendary Christmas markets, and Pru thought the organizers bold to start their own event, as it meant they would vie for the best vendors.